Paul, Jose, welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So where are you guys joining us from? Where's home base?
Tamaulipas, Tamaulipas, Mexico. I would say straight south of the tip of Texas, 3 hours.
Okay. And now, Paul, where are you from originally?
Missouri,
That's right. So,
Missouri originally.
and Jose, what about you?
I'm from Victoria, Tamaulipas,
Okay, so
the capital of the state. Yeah.
okay. And Paul, you've had because we've known each other for a while, like before you
Oh yeah.
owned El Dorado.
Oh yeah.
Talk about your career path in the outdoor industry.
Oh man. I mean, it started at 15. I started scooping dog kennels for a preserve and hunt club. So I mean, as low as you can get on the totem pole. And from there, I can't. I've done it all except for really work on the nonprofit side. I was a guide. I was a manufacturer's rep. Had 21 brands over 5 states. And then from there, went on to Anka Gear. That's where we first met.
Uh-huh.
And then left Anka and started this.
And you just decided I'm done working for anyone else. I'm going to start
Basically,
my own thing. Yeah.
I mean, basically, what happened is, and this is how Jose and I met. I got hired at a lodge in on the south end of the lake here. We're on the banks of Lake Guerrero on the north bank, and I got hired by a lodge. Jose and I met, decided we could do it on our own, and did. And we're in our third year.
Yeah, third year.
So 3.5.
Isn't Lake Guerrero? Isn't that a pretty well-known bass fishing lake?
At one time, it was world famous Bass Lake.
Yeah, it was number one in the world.
Easily.
Yeah.
And there's still some giant bass in it. I mean, just giants.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Lake Fork was once the
Mhm.
capital. And if you look like historically at 13 plus pound fish that have been registered into the Share-Lunker program at Texas Parks and Wildlife, like half of them have come from Lake Fork out of like 500 something fish,
Mhm.
And they
We
still
had
turn
8
out lunkers once in a while, but now it's like OHIV is
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on fire.
I think so last April, Lake Guerrero was at 5%. When I left to go back to Missouri for turkey season, Lake Guerrero was at 5%. It's at 65 to 70% now of capacity.
Okay.
And so I think in the next 5 to 10 years, you will see Lake Guerrero have a resurgence of the big bass. We had 8 fishermen last year, and our biggest was a 12.5 out of 8 guys.
Wow.
Yeah, we only had 8 guys come fish with us. As far as true fishing, we had some cast and blast stuff, but as far as hardcore fishermen, we only had 8, and our biggest was a 12.5. My biggest last spring was an 8.5.
Yeah, and I caught 7.5, maybe 8 too. One of those outings. So yeah. So there's still big bass in the lake.
Oh yeah. Well, so your career path took you to El Dorado, or previous outfit, and you and Jose were like, let's do this ourselves.
So
So
shook hands one night over a case of beer.
all right. So what is it like trying to secure a place to build a lodge? Did you build your own lodge? Did you buy an existing place?
No, we were working on that, but we're honestly long-term lease with the current owner. The Texas people will know this name. It used to be Oscar Wyatt's lodge.
Okay.
His own private hacienda.
Yeah,
His vacation and hunting lodge, fishing lodge. And then the current owner bought it, and we are in negotiations with him.
Right on. And then you lease most of your hunting ground?
Yeah, I mean, we lease it, trespass rights, a little bit of everything. But we do have a bunch that is ours. It's a lot.
It's a lot of
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I think that's pretty typical, whether you're in Mexico or Africa or somewhere else. A lot of times it doesn't make sense to just say, I'm going to lease that whole thing for the year and buy up the entire quota. Well, you might just have one hunter that's like, I need a kudu. And so you just pay, if the guy shoots the kudu, then you just pay the landowner whatever the market value for a kudu bull is. Same thing as like a day trespass fee. You're going to pay the landowner.
Yeah. So, and we hunt migratory birds.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, except for the quail, ducks and dove and geese, when we hunt, it doesn't make any sense sometimes to have a lease for the whole year every year
Right.
on those birds, because they can be there this year and they can move the next year, and so you never know. So that's why we cover so much ground. I mean, we cover a lot of thousands of acres.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. So we hunt a lot of places around the lodge, around the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as far as our really good quail spots, those are ours. You
Yeah.
know, we have some bigger ranches that are
Yeah.
just covered up in quail, and we're not going to let anybody else have them. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what is the terrain like where you guys are hunting bobwhites? And you know, I've obviously been to South Texas.
Yeah, it's South Texas, but not
a little bit brushier.
It's brushier, more jungle-esque.
Brushier than South Texas mesquite. Jeez.
Yeah, yeah. Where you have, and what the thing.
The first deer I ever shot with a bow, I shot in South Texas, and I ended up on my hands and knees tracking that thing through the South Texas brush country, and I was like, "This sucks. You can't even see like 5 yards in front of you."
Yeah, and obviously that's not our quail fields, but as far as like the overall topography or the habitat,
yeah,
unless there's agricultural cattle, it's extremely thick. You'd be lucky to get through it on your hands and knees, to be honest with you. But that's why we have the wildlife. We have jaguars, crocodiles, ocelots, margay, bobcats. We have 5 different species of wildcat here.
Six
species.
We have mountain lions too. So,
yeah. You guys had a photo on your Instagram of a jaguar, I think.
Yeah, we got several. They're not uncommon. Like I heard, swear to God,
I heard some nefarious guys might offer you big bucks for that thing.
if it was legal.
Well,
that's why I said nefarious. It would have to be under the table.
That goes back to
poaching.
I 100% believe there's a sustainable population of jaguars here.
Oh, definitely.
And you could charge $100,000, $150,000 a tag, and they're just not doing it. It's the same with the crocodiles too. I mean, you wouldn't be able to charge the premium you do with jaguars, and you take all that back and put it into conservation, and you're talking about a ridiculous amount of money that goes back to the communities and the conservation. But that'll never happen, and we're never going to do it.
Yeah, yeah. So the fields where you actually hunt quail, is it more like just grassland?
Yeah.
Describe that? What is that? It's certainly different from a mesquite flat that's impenetrable.
Yeah, we usually hunt sorghum fields that have been already cut, or cornfields, a lot of pastures, and then some like low brush areas too. But yeah, so because of we don't, like us Mexicans, we don't keep the edge rows clean, and a lot of the land and the pastures, there's like huizache trees and mesquite trees, in the middle of the pastures. Quail just love those places. I mean, they just love it.
The difference between the difference between what we have down here and what you have up there is the practices are sloppy agriculturally. Whereas say you go to Kansas, a historic historic bird hunting area, a lot of places they are farming ditch to ditch. There isn't a hedgerow for 3 miles, let alone when you get to the ditch, there's just a little grass because they are farming ditch to ditch. Whereas they will 100% down here do a combine width down and a combine width back, a hedgerow, a combine width down and back, and a hedgerow. And you see that for a mile. And there's just beautiful hedgerows with great escape cover. And then if you're talking cattle, there's the perfect amount of bare ground, brush, and grass. And the cattle tend to knock back the brush and keep it open enough that you can hunt it and the quail live in it. You need that spaced brush. You can look at Rolling Plains or a number of other places. Oklahoma State just came out with a study that said the spaced out 60 yards, basically brush, is what you're really looking for, not the trees and the jungle. It's the
Right.
spaced out open areas, and that's what this is here. I'm expecting 30 coveys a year, or 30 coveys a day this year.
Oh wow. So gems of third world agriculture and ranching practices.
100%. Yeah. And on top of that, like I said, at Sloppy, there is a ton of food left over in the field. I mean, it's ridiculous how much like farmers and even at the border, like in South Texas, would be livid if they left that much sitting in the field. But here's just is what it is.
Common practice. Yeah, one time I was dove hunting in a field. I had permission to hunt, and it was a cornfield in the trucks, right? And the law is defined as you can't hunt over bait, right? Clearly, you can't bait for dove, or any migratory bird, but you can hunt over normal agricultural practices, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was just happened to be sitting where the trucks were, I guess, offloading the corn, like from or maybe whatever the combine was putting it into the 18-wheeler or whatever, and so there was a bunch of like excess spilled on the ground. The game warden comes and he's like, "Hey, you can't hunt over that, man." And I was like, I didn't put that there. It's the corn spread out like big piles of corn, like not just came out of a deer's corn sack, right? And he's like, "I know, but it's like baiting." And I said, "But we're like looking at the law together?" And he's like, "Yeah, just don't hunt here. I'm not going to write you a ticket because you're not breaking the law, but it's like this gray area.
Don't poke the bear, basically."
Yeah, I mean, but was it really a gray area if this wasn't intentionally done by the farmer?
Well, that goes into the whole debate of flooded corn and everything else. You see up north, so
right.
We don't have that problem down here.
Yeah.
No, that's not an issue.
No.
Yeah. I'm friends with that game warden though. We've talked a lot. He has busted quite a few poachers in North Texas in the last 10 years or so since I ran into him that day, and so he's been on the show a couple times. We get these. Collin County has a bunch of big bucks, and it's archery only. So big bucks make people do dumb things sometimes,
don't they?
Yeah. So what is a typical day hunting with you guys like?
Wake up. Oh, we're in the field by daylight, 100%, and we hunt hard. We're not one of these places that you come and you hunt 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon. You hunt from daylight till about 10:30. This is quail hunting. Everything's It was a little different. Doves fly different, so that's part of the schedule. But on a typical quail day, you're in the field to hear the birds calling, that first morning rally that they call at. And then we hunt until 10:30, 11, normally about 11. Then we head back to the lodge or have a field lunch. Depends on where we're at, who we're with. Eat lunch, maybe a short siesta, and then probably 2:30, 3 o'clock, we're headed back out to the field and we hunt till dark, just before dark. We try to leave the field as the sun's going down.
Right.
And so it's a long day. You come to hunt and we take you hunting.
And Jose, quail hunting isn't really a big part of Mexican culture, is it?
Not as big as I would say waterfowl or dove hunting. But there's some guys that they hunt hard and they hunt quail all over the country, and they have their bird dogs and all that. But I mean, just hunting in general. I mean, there's the culture, but not as big as other countries like the U.S. or even Canada. There are a lot of hunters, but yeah, not as many as you guys have up there. But yeah, quail hunting is not as big as other game birds.
Well, it's better for you guys. And
definitely.
Yeah. What kind of dogs do you guys run?
English pointers, primarily English pointers. We have 3 English cockers, which I love them. They're kind of our court jesters, and just everybody loves them. I've got a wire hair, English setter, and 1 short hair.
Okay.
So we've got 17 dogs right now.
And who's doing the retrieving?
Primarily the cockers.
Okay.
Primarily the cockers. Some of it depends on the dog. And some of
Right.
them are pretty well mannered, and some of them could care less about retrieving. And I
Right.
honestly, it's warm enough down here. If I can get them to whoa up while my cockers are retrieving, that's better. They can stand there, catch their breath, not be running. And it works a little better that way. We
Yeah.
do not really use the cockers to flush unless it's just the cockers out. So
On the edge roads.
yeah, on the hedgerows, that's where they live. So
Okay. Okay. So what is the flushing process then?
walk right up to them. The normal people, a lot of the people that come down here, they don't realize how these wild birds react. They've been hunting the preserves, and they're expecting that thing to come up under their feet. And then occasionally that happens, but 90% of the time they're coming out 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet in front of you.
Right.
And they're moving. They're hunted by everything. So they're fully aware of their surroundings. A dog starts panting within 20 feet of them, and they hear it and they move away from it. I wouldn't say they're blues by any means, but you can definitely walk them down and move on them. We also hunt them out of the truck for people that can't move well enough. So you know, the flush is almost dependent on the cover,
Yeah.
how well they're holding.
I've hunted quail, wild quail, you know, a dozen times in my life probably. And it sucks because that's something I would love to hunt more of, but finding huntable populations is damn near impossible these days. And so you hate to see I hear about the glory days, like driving out west from Dallas, like towards Lubbock, and you go through Coleman, and basically all of those small towns during the fall would have just been dudes in orange vests with kennels on the, dog boxes on the back of their pickups, filling up the hotels. It was a big deal, and it's not so much anymore, and that's sad. And the tradition and pageantry of those bird dogs, it's always great to see people that are still passionate about it and carrying on that tradition. And I've hunted with some good Brittany's, a couple of good GSPs, but really only one of the dogs I ever hunted with that wasn't a lab had any interest. This Brittany would pick up all the birds. It was an amazing dog. But I've been able to take my labs so many times in the I'm always saying, we shoot a duck or whatever, it's landed in the brush, and like dead bird, and so they're used to like finding it. And I got the labs where they, I didn't really have to train them. I just would say dead bird, and they'd walk to where the dogs were pointing, and they'd just flush them naturally. And then they get to pick them up because most of these dogs didn't want to.
Yeah, they don't want to.
Yeah.
No.
Depends on the dog. Like
That's
yeah.
English pointers that they don't retrieve as well as GSP or
Yeah. But those dogs, that's not what they're bred to do. They're like,
No.
I've pointed. Okay, there's the flush. Now I'm on to the next covey. I'm done with it. I'm done here.
And like I said, I'm not too worried about them retrieving. We've got boys that'll do it, cockers that'll do it, and I need them to take that break. So
yeah,
just whoa them up and make them stand there and catch their breath. One of the boys gets them water, and they get a 30-second to a minute break to catch their breath, and that gives them another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and that's really kind of the trick to it all, as far as running the dogs down here. Not to say it's always hot. December, January, early February is perfect. And to go back to the pageantry of it all, I grew up on the Missouri-Kansas border, and that was the world in Kansas and really northern Missouri, where I'm kind of from. Is every weekend you'd go to one of those towns and there'd be guys in trucks, and that's the main reason I came to Mexico like I did, is because it's the last stronghold of wild quail on this level. There's probably some ranches around Hebronville and different places, and Texas is going to have a booner quail year, but you're talking about $150,000 lease.
Yeah.
Of it's of any size, and you can hunt it more than a couple times. So yeah, this is the last best place.
There's quail, there's bobwhites on my deer lease, but it's like one of those things where I don't see enough to ever like want to shoot one. I like hearing them. I don't want to. If I hear one covey on let's just say I go for the weekend and I hear one covey, maybe I see them. Probably going to hear them. I have no desire to be like, I need to go shoot those birds. I'd like for them to like repopulate, and maybe one day we could.
Yeah,
but You mentioned Hebronville
Yeah.
and how expensive quail hunting is. So I was invited to go deer hunting at this ranch. It used to be the Bucks of Tecumate, and now it's like I think it's called Cazador Tecumate. But anyway, Evan Jarvis, his family owns it. His dad bought it from what was the guy's name?
Is it La
Craig
Perla?
Simons, maybe? No,
Yeah.
I forget. Doesn't matter. He was the guy that had it and made the ranch famous. His dad bought it. He had done very well in offshore oil exploration, sold his company, bought the ranch, bought the neighboring ranch, went down there. We hunted quail, and it was like a booze cruise thing where they had this giant high rack. I mean, the vehicle probably cost more than my house, to be honest with you. And then the two shooters just sat on the front, and after they'd, probably corned the Sendero for deer earlier in the day, and they're like, "Oh, here come all the quail."
Yep.
And you just would stand there and you'd stand up and just shoot them as they flew. There weren't any dogs. It wasn't like a really a proper quail hunt.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. Yeah, but not
but
as
they had a bunch of
exciting
quail.
as hunting with a bird dog. Yeah.
No, not at all.
and in all fairness to that guy,
we didn't go there to do that. We went there to deer hunt, and I was just like, it's the middle of the day, and let's go get some birds.
We have done that for Gus, though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, some of these guys just can't walk. You know, a 78-year-old guy, and he's broken his knee or something, knee replacement. He just can't do it. Well, get on the truck. Let's go. We'll shoot birds.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get you on birds. Like,
right.
however we have to do it. But I would much rather have a gentleman's quail hunt than just be smoking them as they get up in front of the truck. They're both a pretty good time, though. I mean,
yeah, but that's not something. That was something I was like, oh, I did that once. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the dog. I'd much rather see the dogs work.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're here. And then the doves. I mean, I'm also here for the doves. But
yeah, so talk a little bit about that. Y'all season is going on right now, just like we're hunting in Texas.
We're in the heat of it. We have a group coming in here day after tomorrow. The way I see the doves, and Jose can correct me if I'm wrong. Our season starts August 16th, more or less. Yeah. Last year they moved it on us from the 11th to the 16th. Maybe they'll go back to the 11th next year. I don't know. So around mid-August the season starts, and then it goes to the end of October.
Mm-hmm.
And what you see is early season is white wings. It's almost all white wings. With a few mourning doves and quite a few Euros and some white tips and stuff like that running around or flying around, but it's primarily white wings. As you get into mid-October, the first 2 weeks of October, you'll see the white wings leaving. They're headed to Nicaragua, Peru. They're headed south. But in saying that, they're replaced by all the mourning doves that are coming down out of North America. Mm-hmm. They hit the Gulf and come right to us. And we're in the heart of their territory. Right.
Yeah. So like the biggest roost in North America is just like, I would say like 15 miles from where we are.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah. And
that's the dove flight.
That's a 20 to 25 million dove roost.
Jeez.
And so getting closer to October, when we start getting our first cold fronts, they start moving south. But also in October, late September, October, we get all the birds that are like north from us. Like all the birds that you guys are hunting right now in South Texas, they migrate too south. So we get like a second wave of fresh birds.
Right.
And so we have really good hunting throughout the whole season from mid-August to late October.
Okay. And what is the limit for a dove?
A tag is 50 birds.
Okay.
And you get 4 tags
per day?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could shoot more than I could definitely be happy shooting more than 15. I think I would have to draw the line like on the Argentina thing. Like if I went to Argentina to go dove hunting, I don't want to shoot 1,000 dove in a day. I probably want to like shoot a couple hundred, 300-400. Sounds nice.
Yeah.
Your shoulder doesn't want to fall off. then I'd be like, let's go do something else. Let's go fishing or whatever else. I don't
And
know.
that's kind of the beauty of our lodge. And I've been to Argentina 30 times, 30 plus lodges I was a booking agent. I guess I forgot to mention that in my career summary, but I was a booking agent for out of Houston for about 10 years. And so I spent a lot of time in Argentina, and there's days where we 100% can hang with Argentina. We just can't do it year round. The difference is I'm never going to let you shoot 5,000 birds in a day. I don't care how many birds we have. That's it's a resource, and we do protect it. We could run full on throughout the whole season. Everybody shoot their entire limit of doves, and we will not even touch what went down the first day of the Texas dove season. Like, as far as number of birds shot.
Right.
People say, we get that every once in a while, like, oh, you're game hogs. Well, no, not if you really look at it. Not at all. Like, the first day of Texas,
I definitely did my part. I got my 15 opening day.
Yeah. And so did how many other thousands and thousands of other people.
You know what I think about though is how much money the shot shell companies make opening weekend. Because it takes the study from Texas Parks and Wildlife is it takes the average dove hunter 7 shots to kill one dove.
I believe that.
I've seen it.
The truth of that is like, that is our main thing is that it's not just I hate writing that check to the shell company. We have to do it about twice a year, and it's a big check. It's one of our biggest expenses. So yeah, I see that on a level that most people don't see. But it's funny, that first day people are it's 1 out of 7. And by that last day, it's 3 out of 7, 4 out of 7. You're just getting that many opportunities that you can improve that fast.
Yeah.
Do you think guys hit more? Do you think they hit more dove or more quail?
Oh, doves.
Yeah.
The guys just aren't ready for what these birds do.
Yeah.
I mean, they're used to the preserved birds that are slow and fat. These birds are
small and fast.
If you're not on them and quick, they're gone. And it's just, that's the way it is.
Wild quail hunting is some of the most fun wing shooting I've ever done. And like, as far as degree of difficulty, it's crazy. You don't know what those birds are going to do. And they are moving, especially the ones going away from you. Oh man, that's a tricky one.
Yeah. And if you pick up a copy of 14, 15 birds, 20 birds, it's like a regular here. You have birds flying everywhere, like in front, left, right, on top of you, like going back and behind you. And I mean, it gets crazy.
You got to pick one out.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
It's like when a big flock of teal come in. It's like, I do better if there's like 3 or 4. There's 15 of them. Which one do I shoot at?
And they're all switching positions and up and down all around. And and you end up flock shooting and nothing drops. And that's pretty much it. But the guys that, again, it's just like the doves. That first day, they're slow and they're not on them. That second hunt, that first day, they're killing a few birds. By their 4th, 5th hunt, they're on them. Or they've at least started to shoot more consistently. We very rarely have a guy come down here to where I feel like he puts the gun up, he's going to kill birds. Every once in a while. Well, if Jose's shooting or I'm shooting, I feel pretty comfortable about it.
Well, the other thing about those mass volume dove shoots is like the shells have gotten so expensive. Like that would be a non-starter for me. I went to Argentina in April and I shot 1 dove, 1 red stag, and 1 water buffalo.
If you shot a pigeon, you'd have had the slam.
We shot some perdees. And that we didn't have a dog. We were just walking in a line. Still fun. I think we hunted one afternoon. I think we got 15 or 20 between 4 or 5 guys. So that was pretty fun.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good time. And during the hot weather, that's pretty well how we have to hunt.
Yeah,
we get 45
style.
45 minutes in the morning with the dogs, and then we got to put them up and walk them up. But as far as killing quail, that is the way to do it. I don't care what anybody says about how awesome their dog is. There's no better way to kill quail than a line of 6 guys.
Yeah.
Period. They're not pheasants. They don't run, so you don't need any blockers. It's just they're going to get up and you just keep walking, and that's the best way to kill quail. I mean, it's the most effective by far.
Right.
When we do on occasion, and when it's hot, have to walk them up.
Mm-hmm. So what are I mean, obviously this lodge was privately owned. What are the accommodations like? And what is a typical group that comes in? You know, how many guys can you host at one time?
Dove season 14 is our max, and then 8 for our mixed bag or quail season. The reason we do that is mainly we have 2 good trucks and 17 dogs. It breaks down pretty well, you know.
Yeah, really good.
Really well for 2 trucks. Hopefully by next year, maybe the year after, we might add another truck. We might not. It really just depends. But we're not a huge lodge. We try not to mix groups. We try to keep it, you know, during the mixed bag season, you get the private lodge at a group of 6. And during the dove season, you get private lodge at a group of 8. So a lot of these other lodges, they're running 15, 20, 30 people, and they're all groups of 2s, 3s, 4s, and you don't know anybody. Whereas here, it's yours. And we want it to feel like your house. You know, when you come here, it's not, it's more of a boutique experience than it is just running people through.
Okay. And do most people bring their own guns, or do they rent from you?
I'd stay away from bringing your own gun to Mexico.
Yeah, we have guns at the lodge.
Yeah.
And we don't rent them. They're included in your package.
Okay.
So we don't have that like rent per day, blah blah blah, like Argentina.
That's all included.
That's included.
The only thing not included in your package is your shells and tips. Everything else is in there: food, open bar, laundry, leases, licenses, transportation, the lodging, everything. So that once you come down here, all you're really worried about is how many shells you're going to shoot, which is something you need to consider.
Yeah.
As far as keeping your costs down. If you don't, not worried about costs, shoot away. And then the tips are $400 a person, and that goes straight to our guests, our house staff, from our guests to our house staff.
I mean, you can bring guns. I mean, it's not like it's not possible.
Yeah.
But just the hustle and just the permits and this and that, and they'll charge you like $450 per permit to bring 2 guns. So that's basically, I mean, you can buy a pump shotgun with that money.
Right. I've definitely taken a rifle into Mexico for a Coos deer hunt last year.
And it's different.
That's a different deal.
It's different crossings is what people don't realize. Over there west, they're used to the deer hunters crossing all the time.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking Del Rio or wherever. Over west, they're used to that. At where we cross, no one's ever crossing their gun, ever, very rarely. And now they made a new law to where we have to have a general that meets us, and he's not gonna meet us. He's not taking time out of his day to do it.
I mean, there's there's pros and there's cons to the third world. If the general can be bothered, but he's probably not coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And he's at the border, and we all know this. I won't try to hide anything. He's a busy man. There's stuff going on up there, and he's busy on both sides of the border. They're busy, and so they're just not looking. They're not going to take time out of their day to come mess with us. But we have good bred of 390, 391s. We're adding more guns all the time. I've got 2 bred A300s sitting in Bernie, Texas right now, waiting to be brought in. I'm working on finding a couple bred over and unders to bring in. So we'll get it figured out. How to do that, I don't know. Whether we have to go to the state and buy them or whatnot, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and like in Mexico, they're not like. So personally, I have a like what you will call a sporting goods store, but it's just the permit for the shells.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a permit that comes from the Army. They are the ones that regulate all everything involving guns and ammo. So I have that permit, so that allows me to buy shells from the factories 2 factories are here in Mexico, but there's also 2 stores in all Mexico where you can buy guns from. That's only 2.
2 stores?
One in Mexico City, one in Monterrey. That's it.
Oh my gosh.
For all Mexico. And they import everything, American guns, European, Asian, Turkish guns, all that. I mean, you can go and buy whether it be rifle or Beretta or whatever.
They've got a pretty good selection.
But yeah, they got some pretty good.
They should if there's only 2 of them.
Yeah. And yeah. But you can apply, and there's a lot of paperwork involved, but you can do it. I mean, and buy, but a certain amount of guns per year, blah blah blah. I mean, it's regulated.
What is it? So Aguila is based in
Mexican.
Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is the other one?
CI.
Okay.
CCI, the same company that does CCI. That
Yeah.
use.
Aguila, I think they started as a Remington factory. They used to make Remington shells, and then I don't know what happened, and they turned into Aguila. And I think the same deal happened with CI. They used to make 22 rimfire for CCI or something like that. And that's why the factory name is just CI. That's a Mexican side, and something like that. I don't know. But yeah, you have Aguila and CI.
It's complicated enough. I think we've talked about just selling what we have, the 2 Berettas, rather than mess with them and just go down there. And that's how difficult it is at the border. And and rather have them in my name, we can have them in Jose's name.
Okay, so what does a box of shells cost?
$20.
$20. Okay.
And we're not making a dime on that.
Yeah.
When
I was in Argentina, it was $28 for a box of shells.
Yeah.
And then I think they were getting them for $25. But even that, they were like, dude, they were having a hard time getting it, first of all.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
Everybody is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If Jose wasn't who Jose is, we'd have a much harder time with it. And yeah.
So what is your preferred shot size then for dove and quail, or are you using the same for each?
We usually run the same 7.5 or 8s.
Okay.
Low brass. I mean, 12 feet per second. The ounce on an 8 is a very common load here in Mexico, but we run an ounce load too. And yeah, I mean, if we can get a hold of some 9s like skid load, that's perfect for quail. I mean, you got the velocity, you got the right amount of BBs, and I mean, you have BBs flying all over the place. So yeah,
right.
It gets fun, but yeah, just 7.5 and 8s, ounce and an 8, and
mostly 20 gauge, or
we got both.
We
got 12s and 20s.
Okay.
Yeah, but right now with all the the shell deal that is happening all over the world, it's easier to get a hold on 12s than 20.
Right.
We're going to try to push you to the 12s.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
and believe me, a lot of hunters have started quail hunting with us with the 20 gauge, and by the second hunt, they're like, "Oh, give me the 12." Yeah.
So that's the opposite. I feel like we're in this place right now in hunting where the 20 gauge is gaining in popularity a little bit. Just especially for your crowd of older guys, that are frail and
and I've always debated this with people.
Time waits for no man.
Well, they say that the 20 gauge is less recoil. It is what you're moving out of the barrel and the pressures involved in it. And there's a whole train of thought that an ounce coming out of a 20 gauge and an ounce coming out of a 12 gauge is the same ounce. It's going to kick just as the same and it's in a lighter gun. So it's not always just the recoil. I think if you're really recoil shy, you're looking at a 28.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely feel like I think I've been hunting with a 20 for like 4 or 5 years for dove and upland. So obviously use the 12 gauge for waterfowl. But I don't know. I don't feel like it kicks his
Yeah, well,
head.
I mean, and it all depends on who's behind the shotgun,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And who's how you or what you feel comfortable with. And but yeah, sometimes like I said, you have that 7/8 ounce load of the 20 gauge, and sometimes you just want the 1 1/8, you know.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I'll say
See if
this.
you can reach them better.
My wife picked up the gun and shot at a few dove opening day, and we're driving back from the deer lease, and she's like, "My shoulder hurts." I'm like, "That was a 20 gauge, lady." She doesn't do a lot of shooting. Actually,
Yeah.
she won this Yeti Cup at Joshua Creek Ranch.
Oh,
We
yeah.
did a skeet shoot for my buddy's 50th birthday,
Mhm.
and this was the prize for the person that hit the least amount of clays.
good. Well, congratulations.
We're good friends. We're
So,
good friends with them
no-
over there.
No dove died on her watch. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we're pretty good friends with those guys at Joshua Creek. So I got
Oh
some.
yeah,
really,
they're great guys.
I got
good
some
outfit
really
down there.
friends working there.
So as far as the elephant in the room, what is the cartel activity like? What's safety like as far as guys? Because I'm assuming most of your hunters are driving across the border.
No,
No.
we're taking them across. We're not asking anybody to drive in.
Okay.
We'll pick you up. So that's how the system works. Is you get to Harlingen, we ask for Harlingen. It's just an easier crossing. You park if you're driving down, park at the long-term parking, and we pick you up in the van, and it's a 3-hour drive to the lodge.
Okay.
As far as safety goes, I've been here for 4 years. If they're going to get the gringo, they'd already got me. You know, it's not something they're worried about. They're not. It's
just the place where we are that it's not bad.
yeah.
And I mean, it's just like we have that question a lot. We get it. And if you're looking for trouble, it don't matter where in the world you are,
Yeah.
you're gonna get it.
Mm.
And we're just a hunting lodge.
And statistically, you are in more danger walking around in Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Austin, Texas, than you are visiting Mexico.
Yeah.
And that's not just Tamaulipas, that's the entire country of Mexico. If you include Tamaulipas being as, you see some stuff in the news every once in a while, but that is always something that they were involved. They weren't innocents. They
Right.
weren't just down here on vacation. They were doing something, and they did something that needed to be dealt with. And with us, we just hunt, we just fish. No one's worried about us.
Mhm. I've been to Mexico the last 2 years, flown into Hermosillo and then driven a couple hours to where we were deer hunting. And I never had any issue. And like you said, what's in it for the cartel to mess with an American gringo? They don't need whatever $1,000 in gratuity that I have in my wallet or whatever. I'm not traveling with a ton of cash. It's nothing to them because all it does is bring heat on them. They don't want to mess with that.
Exactly.
It's a huge business, and let's say they do get a ransom of something like that, it just costs them hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
In infrastructure and time, and they're getting harassed. Like it literally would be a bad business decision.
Yeah, which they're in the business. They're trying to make money. So
yeah, and I'm not saying like we're the ones. It's the Mexican government, the Tamaulipan government, the U.S. government. Yeah, I mean it's bad for business, and everybody here just wants to make money.
Right.
Us included. So we are a business, and they leave us alone, and we stay out of everybody's hair, and there is a huge amount of military and police presence on the roads, and it's just they're there. They're driving up and down the road. They make themselves known, and once or twice a year they stop us and check for our gun permits, and that's it. We get very little hassle from anybody.
And half of them I know them because of that. So every time we get there's a checkpoint or whatever, or get pulled over, military check the papers because it's their part of their job, right?
Right.
Check the permits and this and that and everything. And I don't know, like 75 and 90% of the time, like one of the captains or whatever, lieutenants here, like, do I know you from somewhere? I'm like, well, I have a shell store in Victoria. He's like, yeah. Do you know this guy and this guy? And we were like, yeah, I know this guy. So we start talking and everything. And, you know, 10 minutes later, they're like, okay, everything's good. You have the permits, everything's okay. You know, they wave to the gringos, Americans, and clients get excited about it. Oh, let me take a picture with the military, all that. And it's part of the culture of the security that it's implemented here in Mexico. But it's also part of the trip too. And our clients seem to enjoy it, and it makes them feel safe and everything.
Right.
It's not like you're getting guns pointed at you. Or
Yeah.
anything.
No.
It's no different than getting stopped by a cop.
Yeah. You said Victoria. Is that where the beer comes from in the yellow with the yellow label?
No, it happens to be like the same name.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Victoria is the capital of
We
the
do have a
state.
lot of Victoria here, though. You can,
Oh yeah, and
Uh-huh.
Corona and all that. Yeah.
So what is the Jose in your area? What do most of the Mexicans drink as far as beer goes?
Beer.
as much of it as they can find.
Yeah. No, well, I guess tequila.
That's not beer.
Yeah.
I see a lot of guys drinking Tecate Blue. But
That's
to be
what. So when I
honest-
went on the deer hunts, that's what the guys
Yeah,
in
so
camp
like
all were
on,
drinking.
on the north part of Mexico, Tecate.
I was like, get this water away from me. Where's the one in the red can? I don't want this Tecate light
yeah,
crap.
one of the red ones.
Yeah.
Those are the regulars. We call it the regulars.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the north part of Mexico, because of the breweries that are around here, Tecate is a big deal. The blue one and the red one. Carta Blanca,
That's my favorite.
Indio.
That's good. Yeah.
I mean, Indio is like a kind of dark a beer.
Yeah.
Dos Equis is part of the same company. And but you also have the other side of the coin that they drink Corona, Victoria,
A
Modelo.
lot of Michelob drinkers around here.
Yeah.
Like Michelob Ultra. Like
Yeah.
more often than not, you go to a bar or something in Victoria. Like
These are
that
women.
speaks on safety. Like my gringo butt runs all over Victoria. goes to bars and like, yeah, like no one's
But that's women, right, that are drinking that?
No, everybody.
Yeah,
It's everybody.
yeah, me included sometimes.
You go to the
Oh,
bar,
Jose, come on,
you go to the
man.
bar and it's Michelob Ultra all around. Unless they're sipping on tequila. Because they don't shoot tequila here. That's a sipping drink. It's like our whiskey. Yeah. And so
when I was in Sonora, the guy I was hunting coos deer with, he had turned part of his ranch into agave agriculture. And he was trying to, and he had already started distilling Bacanora. Yeah. Which is it's a similar cousin to tequila, a little different.
Yeah.
But that stuff is pretty good.
Yeah, so Bacanora is more to the west coast. And here to the east coast and south is mezcal.
Yeah.
They both have like the same process. They're kind of smoky too. And Bacanora is not as smoky as the mezcal. But they're all related to the tequila, you know. They are
agave
pretty much come from the same type of plant. Different subspecies, of course, but different flavors, different distillation system, whatever. But yeah, they all come pretty much from the same.
My favorite Bloody Mary in the world is a mezcal Bloody Mary.
Really?
A smoky mezcal Bloody Mary is probably as good as it gets.
I can't say that I've had one of those.
Yeah, you need to work one up one morning. They're pretty good. Or afternoon, I mean.
Yeah. What about the duck hunting? We've talked dove and quail.
I'll let Jose. He's a duck nut. So
So because we have Lake Guerrero just like footsteps from the lodge, we hunt like a lot. And we also hunt ponds around him. And then we hunt small lakes that are fairly close to the lodge too. And so here we get a lot of puddle dogs. I mean, and a lot of species. and divers too. But just to name a few, we get pintails, widgeons, gadwalls, ringnecks, bluebills, black belly whistling tree dogs, fulvous tree dog, shovelers, blue-winged teal, ring-winged teal,
Yeah.
cinnamon teal. We got what we call Mexican duck, which is like our mallard.
Right. Yeah.
It's related to the mottle dog,
Mhm.
black ducks, all that family.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
How many cinnamon teal do you get? Is that a common species?
oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, canvasbacks too. We get a lot of canvasbacks too.
Huh. I have
Yeah,
never
you
shot a
have a
cinnamon teal. I
pretty
want
good
to.
shot on the small puddles and the smaller lakes.
Uh-huh.
You have a pretty good shot of seeing a cinnamon teal.
Yeah.
I've
hunted the lake and the ponds and everything that so many years that I'm like, if Paul's get a phone call, asking the same question as you, like, I want to get a cinnamon teal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, we can do it, no problem. And I know where to go, and I know where to find them, and it's not that it's easy, but
the answer is yes, we can.
Yes, we can, exactly.
That's what Kamala says when someone asks her about violating the Constitution. She's
Yes,
like, we shouldn't be
you
saying
can.
no, guys. We should just be saying yes, we can. I think it's better when it's applied from a hunting outfitter's standpoint.
Exactly, than political.
But that's what the good outfitters do is they cater to whatever the client wants. They try their hardest to make that happen for them.
We do everything we can within reason. Jose, neither Jose and I are gonna, do anything that we think is wrong, but within reason, we're gonna put you on what you want. As far as the hunting,
and we don't our tags or the license or whatever. We don't have like a species, like you get 4 mallards, 1 pintail, and 1 redhead, whatever. No, this is just you get 15 ducks in the morning and 15 ducks in the afternoon, whatever you can get. So I mean, pintails are pintails. They're hard to kill, they're hard to shoot at, and but yeah, we usually do the duck hunting in the morning and then quail hunting in the afternoon, or we can do a morning dove hunt. I mean, our morning dove hunts are really good during the winter too. We get like those South Texas white wings. We get that migration too, and we get all the migration from the States for morning dove. So, I mean, you can shoot 7-8 boxes of shells on morning doves.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just pretty normal. And because we say like 7-8 boxes, because during the white wing dove season, you're shooting 15-20 boxes of shells per hunt. So we think it's a lower volume, but we have a lot of morning doves too.
Still darn good shooting.
Yeah. And we get snow geese and speckled bellies, and that's something we can do if we have a good feed.
And that's Jose's favorite. That's when we first met. Like, I knew I was gonna like this guy. We went snow goose hunting all day, and he'd been up since 3 o'clock in the morning putting decoys out with the boys and everything else. We get back to the lodge, and he's over in the corner watching YouTube videos about snow goose hunting. And I'm like, yep, all right, I like this guy. We're gonna get along just fine.
It's a love-hate relationship with him.
So what is the food like, and where you guys are is way fancier than where we were staying at for these deer camps where I've mule deer hunted and coos. I mean, these were not by any means. You're lucky to have running water in one of them. The other one was a camper, but you know what they had? A badass chef that was whipping up some amazing Mexican cuisine. And that's one of my favorite things about traveling is, taking in the culture. And to me, that means the food.
We try to keep it Mexican because you're in Mexico. So you like.
Well, and Mexican food's the best. Let's not lie, right?
Oh, yeah. Being a Mexican,
I'll say, whenever I start cooking something, you know what I ate for lunch today? A quesadilla that I made myself. And I was like, what? I had this pulled pork that I, from wild boar that I'd shot,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, what am I gonna make? Well, of course it's gonna be a taco or a quesadilla or
Exactly.
something, which is more Tex-Mex, but
So we have chef prepared. All our meals are chef prepared. We have plenty of desserts also sitting around, empanadas sitting around all the time for you to just walk by and grab some. Our meals are American portions, but Mexicanized food.
are you saying we're fat?
We're used to bigger portions.
Yeah, you're just big.
Yeah, we're used to bigger portions.
I'm 6'2", and you guys are big, so yeah.
But Americans are used to a lot of food on a plate, and so we do that but it's also chef prepared. And then we have a steak night. You can't not have a steak night, but it's served with sauces, all the trimmings to make tacos. So
And this like Mexican baked potato over the grill, and yeah, we have fajita nights too. And
Ceviche.
we just have really good meat around here. So
one of the things that most of the guests really rave about are the langostinos. And,
Oh, yeah.
And so they're
What is
giant,
that?
a giant crawfish. I mean, they are 6, 7, 8 inches long, a couple inches wide. They're just like little tiny lobsters.
Wow.
And we've just pile them on a big plate in the middle of the table, and it's grab and growl, and people love it. We serve it on ceviche day, so you get the langostinos and the ceviche.
And ceviche tostadas.
Oh yeah.
So
And they're great.
Yeah,
they're great.
That was one thing I didn't realize.
I am now.
A lot of ceviche.
I was not a ceviche fan, but I am now.
Oh, okay, dude, I love it, and that was one of the things in on those deer hunting trips, because Hermosillo is closer to the coast, right?
Yeah,
I didn't realize.
Have amazing cuisine. Like
next thing I'm getting shrimp and octopus ceviche, and I was like, with avocados and pico and
yeah, that's the stuff.
That was cool.
Yeah, and Hermosillo is just a couple hours from the coast, I think. So
yeah, it's
another popular one's the mole.
Yeah,
do mole on what do you call this thing?
Like
sopes,
which is like a corn tortilla but kind of thick, and you put like chicken, like shredded chicken cooked with mole on top of it, and then you have this pickled red onions with habanero on top, and that's like the last meal they have at lunch, and they enjoy it really, really much. I mean,
sign me up for all that.
Oh yeah, and then we have like this we call it Mexican grilled chicken, which is a crazy marinade that we put the chicken in, and we grill it. We grill everything over mesquite firewood or wood, So that gives a different feel and smell and taste to our food,
Do you guys cook any of the quail?
Oh yeah,
that's an appetizer.
That's appetizers.
Or we just sometimes do a main course with dove and quail skewers, and they're pretty good. With all the Mexican seasonings and the peppers and the onions and those things, and those are pretty darn good, especially to put them on a taco. Everything's served with tortillas. I mean, every meal. The other thing that is extremely popular is we'll serve breakfast at the lunch, depending on the group. If the group wants a traditional breakfast at the lunch, we'll serve it. But one of the things that most people like to do is the breakfast tacos. It just gives you 10, 15 more minutes to sleep in.
Yeah.
And so they elect for the breakfast tacos, and I have yet to have somebody not eat all the ones we put in front of them.
Yeah. And we take them to the field.
Yeah.
So like on a dove hunt, you have your chair and your bucket, your cooler and everything, with beer, water, Cokes, everything. And you have 2 bird boys waiting for you. So you get you load out of the van, and you get your shotguns. I mean, your shotgun and your shells and everything, and a bag with those tacos, breakfast tacos.
Yeah.
So yeah. And
sounds terrible.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so where can people find you guys?
www.eldoradooutfittersmx.com. On social media, it's at Eldorado Outfitters.
So basically, just get to Harlingen. You guys pick your clients up.
Yeah,
drive to the lodge.
We take care of them.
Yeah.
Take care
So,
of
We accept,
everything.
and as far as payment, we accept Venmo, Zelle. I'm working on Square here this week. I should have Square up and running. It's a cheaper credit card rate. So
what about Amex?
I should be able to take it through Square, can't I? I don't know.
I don't know. I was just saying
I'll
that so I
find
can get my points.
That's what everybody's worried about. In fact, I can run it. So for right now, we can run it, but it's a 3.5% charge. So
right on.
you just get a few more points that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I made the mistake of like, I'm not the type of person that number one can afford to fly first class or ever really even thought about it. And then my buddy upgraded me on a safari. He's like, you just buy the economy ticket. I'll use my points. How do you ever go back after that?
Yeah. I don't know.
And I did. I went back this past summer. I looked and the tickets were twice as much as they were the summer before. And I was like, nope, I'm a man of the people. I'm riding in the back of the bus.
I've yet to fly first class at 44 years old. So
they're like, here's your glass of champagne before you take off. Here, they show you how your seat reclines into a bed. There's like, here's your pajamas if you want to change. And would you like some caviar? I mean, I was just like, this is I'm
yes, and
I'm
yes.
living outside of my stratosphere here. Yeah. Well, right on, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
I appreciate it.
Bird hunting in Old Mexico is something you guys have talked me into it. Paul and I have been friends for a long time, and it was something I already wanted to do. But the fact that you have dove and ducks and obviously the amazing quail hunting is the kind of the gem there. You just can't find that anywhere else.
No. You can't. But what we have, just so everybody is clear, doves, ducks, quail, doves, quail, ducks, geese, wild turkeys, Rios.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to get your Mexican slam, you can come down here and get your Mexican Rio. And then we have big bass.
Right on. Well, awesome stuff, guys. I appreciate your time, and hopefully I'll see you in Nashville this year.
Well, hopefully. We're working on it.
Right on. All right. Y'all take it easy.
Thanks, Cable.
Thank
Talk to
you.
you soon.
All right.